Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's BDF44 coming at you with another video. All right, so as always, there's been Simmons news to discuss. Darrell Morey essentially said, you know, something that is obvious to all of us, but at the same time is something that no one wants to hear, and that is that the Ben Simmons saga could take up to 4 years, which is the duration of the contract that he's under. In other words, he is in no rush to trade this kid, because quite frankly, his value is not going to get any higher if he's not playing for the team. And the deals that Morey is willing to settle for are not coming his way. So until the kid gets back on the floor for the Sixers, essentially, he's untradeable. And the goal is to get traded. So, look, I understand that that is the reality of their circumstances as it pertains to the Philadelphia 76ers, and that they have a responsibility as a franchise to do what's best for themselves. I think identifying what that is what they're having trouble with. You need to get rid of this kid. You can't do this for 4 years. This is not going to last for 4 years. You're going to be in a lot of conversations leading up to the next 4 days that are going to make it so that you're not going to want to deal with 4 years of this. And I don't think anyone expects to deal with this for 4 years. I think this is just yet another Philadelphia 76er organization poke or nudge at Ben Simmons in this war that they have going on between one another. You know, that's what it seems like to me. This is yet another way to just kind of stick the knife in the kid a little bit, kind of twist it a little bit, just to make it hurt a little bit more. To let him know that because he's behaving this way, they may just mess around and stop fielding offers for him. And just let him sit and, dock his pay forever. Just because they can. And I'm just watching it. Everybody who watches my channel knows how I feel about the Philadelphia 76ers behavior in this conversation, as well as how they've developed other players in the past and how some of those circumstances have gone. I just haven't been a big fan of what I've seen. And like I said, I want to give much more credence on this channel to them having to now do what's best for their franchise. So when I say you must trade for John Wall, I do believe that that is what's best for them. But if they do have other deals in place that have been agreed upon, of course they shouldn't settle for something less. However, it doesn't seem like those deals are coming in because of the behavior that's being shown and them not trading the kid. Again, if they had a deal they liked, they would probably have traded him. So I would like for them to get out of this back and forth with this kid. I'm sure the rest of the team and the coaching staff and everybody in that front office at the end of the day would love to move on from this, including Darrell Morey. But I think it may be a little bit of personal stuff going on now with what's taking place right now with what we're seeing. It seems to me that Darrell Morey is kind of personally upset at Ben Simmons in issuing this statement. That's what it seems like to me, because the kid is ruining his trade value. And Darrell Morey, what Ben Simmons has to understand about Darrell Morey, and I've said this on camera already, Darrell Morey's not working against you. His opinion about how you should handle things is not wrapped up in how he has to move in this situation as an employee of the Philadelphia 76ers. No different than Doc Rivers, but more so specifically about the GM, because that's whose job you're making it hard on. That's who is getting the worst of all of this. Ownership is looking at Darrell Morey saying, get me a certain return. Darrell cannot, even if he wants to, for his legacy's sake, because mind you, your stats aren't the only stats that people are taking a hold of. GMs, especially of his caliber, have to do certain types of deals to keep that cachet high so that the next contracts that he's going to sign is solid and up to par and et cetera, et cetera. Plus, you got to understand the style of the person you're dealing with. This is Darrell Morey, man, the same guy who's stood on what he had to say about some topics that, people were not too happy about. And this was just several years back. I think what I'm trying to say is he's kind of on thin ice. He needs to do a good job in Philadelphia. And this is the biggest trade of his career, most definitely. And let's be honest, he should have took the Harden trade. We all know he should have taken the Harden trade. Now, did he have the right to take the Harden trade? Maybe ownership kind of nudged him in that direction as well, which is why I would wonder if he may be personally upset at Ben Simmons himself when issuing a statement like this, because Ben's making it hard on him when his hands are in fact tied by those same people that Ben are mad at him. So I don't know his opinion. Now, mind you, I have no idea. But what I'm saying to you is this was just a nudge in Ben Simmons' side. This was not a constructive statement being released to us. This was essentially giving the Philadelphia fan base another reason to further boo this kid, and giving him another thing to think about at night when mulling over whether or not he wants to cave in and ultimately play basketball for their franchise. It becomes uncomfortable for me when we start talking about this because I understand what this all represents. He's an athlete who they want to make an example of so that they can prevent certain athletes from doing certain things in the future, because a lot of these athletes, they come in with different personalities, and sometimes they're hard to manage. Ben Simmons he appears to be like that. And so they're trying to send a message through him to not ever let certain things happen again. However, I don't think this is the right example to show that or to display that. This is not the right time to do that because of the specifics of what I've seen in this person's behavior. He's not a basketball player with a lot of confidence, which shows me that he may have some other things going on. And that's why I think this is a mental health conversation. I know it's laughable when people say, oh, mental health. But remember, in this particular case, we're talking about somebody who's 6'10", who was afraid to shoot a basketball, who didn't score a single point in every fourth quarter of a playoff game. Now, mind you, he's not a bad player. He's actually a Hall of Famer in training. He's basically going to be a perennial all-star going forward no matter where he's traded to. This is a great player with a lot of size and a lot of talent and a lot of explosiveness, who just did not have it mentally, and that spoke to his mental state. So I'm thinking, hey, this is somebody who's wounded mentally, and the Philadelphia 76ers are obviously poking at him. And it just seems like, it's like a control thing for me. It's not really about whether or not they makes their team better. It's about them forcing this kid to do what they told him to do because they have him under contract and he better damn do it. And that's the vibes that I'm getting from this organization. It's not helpful. They're not trying to help his mental state. They're trying to help themselves to a better positioning as it pertains to people looking at them and saying, yo, they're not to be played with. That seems like the priority, more so than the betterment of the health of the kid. And it speaks to some of the other situations in the past where kids have gone in there and crumbled under the pressure. It's what it seemed like to me. Some of the players that came there with high upside just didn't develop. And I think it's because you can see the energy in this particular instance that could have put those players into positions to maybe be as unhappy as they found themselves being. And I think it's just something strange about an organization as a whole that's willing to tell people that they're going to cheat, basically, to do something to stack the deck, and then build a whole marketing scheme and sell themselves on doing this process so they can get fans and seats. I always agreed with Stephen A. Smith. There was something wrong about that. There was something not right about that. And I understood the process of tanking, but you don't necessarily turn it into your mantra. Like, you know what I mean? The process. So let's lose this year and lose next year and lose next year. And in the process, you're just not doing things to make players better. I just thought all of that spoke to something that ain't right up top. And then I see stuff like this, and this is like the last straw for Ben Simmons. After, 7 years, 4 years, however long it's been. I don't know how many years he's been in this league. 7 years probably, 6 years. And I'm watching it. And I'm like, this is the straw that broke the camel's back with him. It's not that he's necessarily just, in a space right now where suddenly he's just developed all this. No, this has been building over time. And I think his deep anxieties about shooting the ball, right? His deep anxieties about, and I say anxieties, not being certain of what the mindset is, but assuming that he's feeling some type of something, right? The issues keeping him from shooting, the issues is keeping him from scoring in the fourth quarter, all those different issues. That is happening in an environment. That's what I know. After being a Laker fan for 25 years and seeing different environments from team to team to team every year and seeing it improve and decrease and improve and decrease over the years, I know the difference. seeing one player on one team go through various environments. Because Kobe and Derek Fisher were here for most of their careers. And players like that who were here for a long time, it showed me how they went through ebbs and flows with the things in their lives, as well as the environment they found themselves in, how they were able to handle themselves in that environment. See, I look at things that way. And the environment that the Philadelphia 76ers have placed Ben Simmons in over the last, whatever it's been, 6-7 years, has led him to feeling as he had in those playoff games on that floor. If he had those anxieties and those issues or whatever they're defined as, his entire career, if they were as bad as they were, he would have never been as successful as we know him to be. He would have never earned the contract he got. Somewhere along the way, something went wrong in Philadelphia that led him to being as self-conscious as he was in those playoff games. And that's something that nobody's talking about. How the hell did he get to that point? How did he even get that bad? And I think the answer is somewhere in that organization. Just like it got that bad with Okafor, just like it got that bad with Fultz, just like it got that bad with several other situations. I just look at things a certain way. And I'm like, nah, he ain't mad just for no reason because he's some spoiled kid, this, that, and the third. That ain't why he's upset. Something happened. And I want and maybe it's not my business to know what it is, but I think that we discuss it as a possibility rather than just taking the side of the Philadelphia 76ers organization is probably the most responsible thing for most of us to do. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't benefit the media to tell us that Philadelphia's got some things they doing that probably ain't all that great, and that's why the kid is spazzing out over there. Doesn't. It's not as compelling as saying, yo, that kid is spazzing out over there. Look at him go. He's a spectacle, ain't he? No, he's somebody trying to get out of a situation he perceives as toxic, as I've said many times. You know? However he perceived the world, however he perceived himself. Maybe he's some arrogant kid who didn't make things better for the environment around him. Or maybe he stressed them out too. I don't know. But they have all the cards. They hold those cards. And most importantly, they paid him that money. Why? If he's this broken kid, now mind you, of course he's helping you win, but not quite enough because you're not getting over the hump. But if he's this broken kid that can't play, can't shoot, why you want him to play for you so bad? And of course the answer is to raise his value. But no. Because if that were actually what they were trying to do, they certainly wouldn't say things like, this is going to take another 4 years. You know that, right? Or have him in a practice where you know he's hanging his head, you know he's upset, and then say, hey, come over here and do something I know you're going to not want to do so I can suspend you. Because that's exactly what happened there. Hey, yeah, you were moping around yesterday. You didn't quite act like you wanted to be here like we wanted to see you act like. So when you come in here tomorrow, we're going to force you to behave. Hey, come over here, you disgruntled person. I'm going to make a damn fool out of you. Do some stuff that I know you ain't going to want to do while you're feeling as bad as you are. Oh, you don't want to do it? Look at this guy. He's terrible. Look at him. Just as insubordinate as the media says he is. I don't like it, Doc. I don't like it, bro. And I know you're just doing the bidding of somebody else, but some things, nah. And look, this is the part that I can't shake as well, Doc. Every coach in this league, even the rookies, know better than to put the seed of doubt in the minds of the public when they're speaking to the public about a young kid. What was that about? Like, I would ask him personally, what was that about? I understand. Bro, I understand that he just blew the game. I was watching, everybody was watching. And I know everybody's frustrated because they got kicked out the series and all that. I get that. But I am honestly wondering, did he start having these problems when Doc got there? Did he start having these issues about being afraid to dunk the ball, being afraid to shoot free throws, being so poor from the line? Was he like that before Doc got there? Because when he had that other coach that he had known since he was a kid, that the one that they brought there in lieu of trying to lure him there, trying to put themselves in a position to have the first pick in the draft so they could bring that kid here. They brought his coach there at the same time or before that, if I'm not mistaken, and kept him there, even when they were struggling. When they got rid of that coach and they brought in Doc, it seemed like all the stuff started falling apart with this kid. Because he had just signed a contract with y'all for obviously 4 years right before this. So how the hell did it fall apart so fast? Is it not Doc? I'm not certain. I'm not sitting up here casting any dispersions on Doc. I think a lot of people take well to what it is that he does. If not, the Boston Celtics wouldn't have been what they were. People take well to his personality, but hey, some people don't take well to that kind of thing. In some people, that might develop a certain type of anxiety they can't deal with. Type of pressure that Doc may bring to the table. Anybody ever think about that? Because that's one constant with all of this. He wasn't acting like this. Not like this. Because even those who are saying, oh, he don't want to face the Philadelphia fans. He's been facing the Philadelphia fans for the last 7 years. He ain't afraid of them people. What are you talking about? That is a stupid notion to me. And I know that's one they're trying to push on Ben. I don't believe that. That's stupid. He's been booed by them for years. They've been mad at him for not shooting the ball for years. They've been making fun of him for not shooting the ball the whole time. He know them people. So that's one of them notions that I'm not buying. That's a narrative the media wants to paint, that he's afraid to face the Philadelphia fans. I don't agree with that. I think that's bullcrap. I don't think it even work like that. I think he wants to get out of the environment because of how it's been inside of the organization. Not when he gets on the floor with the fans booing him. He's gonna get booed wherever he go. He's gonna get cheered wherever he go. I'm not buying that. You know? Now that doesn't mean that some players may not want to face certain crowds in certain situations. That doesn't absolve that idea from being the case. I'm just telling you, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. It could be true. I'm not buying it. He gonna face them people anyway. He gonna have to, because he's gonna come back as an opponent and you don't want to beat them up. And see, that's what I get from him. The vibes that I got from him in that practice, the first one, where they actually showed us footage of him in the practice. He looked like somebody who wanted to beat the team that looking at him. He's looking at him like, I just want to put on a Spur uniform or a Blazer uniform so I can beat you dudes. Like, that's all I want to do. That's the vibes I got from Ben Simmons. Not only did he not want to be there, he wanted to beat them. So as far as him being afraid to face the fans, no, I can't. I think he can't wait to get back in there so he could just show them why they shouldn't have been so dismissive of him in some cases. I think that. You know, I'm afraid of them. I doubt it. Afraid to shoot, yeah. Maybe afraid some of this other stuff, maybe, yeah. Having to go back into that situation, play with Joel Embiid after some of this stuff, go back in there, face Doc, maybe, yeah, I can see that being an issue. But scrutiny is something that athletes have to put up with, and it's not, it's kind of worked into most of their equations, I imagine. I'm sure it does. So, no, I don't buy that. But anyway, man, that's what I got. I don't want to drag this out any further. Of course, we'll be talking more about Ben Simmons because, like they said, this could drag out for another 4 years. But the reality is, I don't think the Philadelphia 76ers is going to let that happen. And I don't think Darrell Morey is going to be around for 4 years for that to happen. And I think when he said that, he knew that. Ain't no way in hell I'm staying in this stranglehold for 4 years. If I'm Darrell Morey, I'm already plotting my exit strategy from this nonsense. To be completely honest with you. I'm already trying to figure out how I can get out of Philly. So, yeah, that's what I think. You're probably already thinking that. Anyway, my name is BDL44, as you already know. Thank y'all for watching.